Hey guys, so today I'm going to be answering the questions that I got you guys to ask me in my haul video last week. So thank you guys so much for giving me questions to answer, and I'm just going to get straight into it. Nicole asked, what are 3 books you think everyone should read? This is really tough because there's a whole lot of books that I could recommend 100% and wish that everyone would read. I'd say that one of those that I think everyone should read, because I just wish everyone would read it because I loved it so much and I feel like so many other people would, is Molly Moon's Incredible Book of Hypnotism. It's like a children's middle grade kind of book. Highly recommend that one. Otherwise, I would say Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. That's a really good YA book. It's the book that kind of got me into YA, I would say. Classics. There are so many that I think everyone should read, but probably have to go with The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Ryan asked, if you could be any literary character, who would you be and why? And I think that's a really tough question, because as much as there are lots of people in literature that I admire, I wouldn't want to be many of them, because a lot of, well, you know, most of the problems in literature are problems that I'm glad that I don't have. Like, I'll stick to my own, thank you very much. I feel like I'd want to be maybe Hermione Granger, because then I'd get to go to Hogwarts, but in saying that, I wouldn't have wanted like as much responsibility as she had. I'd probably go with Hermione just so I could go to Hogwarts, and because she's my fave. Megan asked me a few questions. The first one is, do you read any horror novels? I've only read a few, I would say. I've read like classic horror, like Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, Dracula by Bram Stoker, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I think I would class that as like kind of horror. Aside from that, not much though. I've read a little bit of Stephen King, but I haven't really like loved anything by him that I've read. I've read stuff like the Silence of the Lambs, like the Hannibal series, which I really liked, but I think that's more like crime thriller sort of fiction, which is a genre that I really like. So yeah, not much like actual horror. So if you guys have any great horror novel recommendations, leave them down below, because yeah, it's really a genre that I haven't really got into very much, so I'd be interested to know what the good ones are. She also asked if I've read any Jack Kerouac, and no I haven't, but that reminds me that On the Road is a novel that's been on my TBR for a really long time, and I really want to read that one, so thank you for reminding me, Megan, because I definitely have to do that soon. She also asked, how many books from the Rory Gilmore reading challenge have you read so far? If you don't know what that challenge is, Rory Gilmore is obviously a character in Gilmore Girls. She reads a lot, and there's a whole bunch of lists out there on the internet where people have gone through and watched the whole series of Gilmore Girls and written down like every book she ever mentions. I did a video on that, which I will link down below if you want to check that out, if you want to know more about it. I actually didn't know off the top of my head how many books from the Rory reading challenge thing I'd actually read. I'd never really counted up, but I did find a list online where you can go through and check off the ones you've read, and then it gives you your total at the end, so you don't have to go through and like add them up. So I did that, and according to that list I've read 55 of them, and I think there's like 300 or something on the list, so 55 is not that many. There are so many books on that list that I'm so excited about, and going through that list again just makes me more excited about it even, because a lot of the books that, you know, out of those 55 that I've read are some of my all-time favorites. It's definitely, that list is definitely what got me into classics, and there are some incredible books on that list. There's a few that I read that I really didn't like, but most of them absolutely loved, and there are so many on there that I'm so excited to get to. So yeah. Sven asked me a couple questions as well. So firstly, what is the book or books that have had the most influence on the way that you think about the world, or what books have made you think the most in general? This is kind of a tough question as well, because I think that most of the books that I really like are the ones that make me think. That's something that I really like in a book, so a lot of my favorite books have had that sort of impact on me. Some of those were The Great Gatsby, An American Tragedy, The Lady of the Camellias, and I would include Harry Potter on that list as well. Other kind of books that I would say that shape me or make me think differently are the kind of books that inspire adventure, just because looking at the world with like an adventurous kind of spirit is a nice way to think about the world. So books that have done that for me were like, some of my childhood favorites are like all the Little House on the Prairie books by Laura Ingalls Wilder, the Molly Moon series that I already mentioned, as well as Harry Potter, Treasure Island, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Like all those kind of books, I just find that they really make me think about things differently than I might otherwise as well. Sven also asked about dystopian, whether I have any personal favorites from the dystopian genre. So classics wise, I actually have a whole video of my favorite dystopian classic novels, which I will link down below if you're more interested in that. But probably like all-time favorite dystopian would be 1984 by George Orwell. And then in terms of YA dystopian, I actually read a lot of YA dystopian before I was really reading YA. So yeah, I think my favorite ones ended up being the ones that I read first. So that included The Hunger Games and Matched and The Maze Runner as well. I was obsessed with those 3 series. Janelle asked me a couple of questions as well. So she asked if I'm going to school or working. I work part-time as a receptionist, and then I'm studying full-time. I'm a full-time uni student, but I do uni through distance learning, so it's all online, but it's through Massey University, which is quite a big university in New Zealand. They have a few different campuses and one of them is online, and I think it's the best decision that I ever made because it makes my time so flexible. I did do like on-campus university when I initially left high school, but I just really didn't like it, and I think part of it was that I was living at home, and I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I had have done like the whole uni experience and moved away from home, gone to a different town, like stayed at a halls of residence and met all new people and just had that been like my entire focus. But now that I'm a bit older, I think that online is the perfect way to go because it means that I have the flexibility to be able to move anywhere throughout New Zealand or throughout the world. So if I decide that I want to move towns, which I've done quite a few times within the like last few years, I can do that as well. So I just think it's definitely the best option for me, and I'm really enjoying it. I really like it, and I would highly recommend if it's something you're considering. Janelle also asked whether I have a specific place or setup for when I read. Quite often I will just read here on this bed propped up by pillows because it's super comfortable. There's also a super comfy chair in this house that I really like to read on. It's like the most comfortable chair I've ever found in my entire life. But otherwise I'm perfectly happy to read anywhere. Catherine asked a couple questions as well. She firstly asked how old I am. I'm 23. I'm almost 24. I turned 24 in April. And she also asked whether I'm attending university, which I've already answered. Yes, I am. And she asked what my major is. So I'm majoring in English literature, as you might guess. At this stage I'm thinking that after my undergraduate I'll probably do a teaching diploma. I think I'd like to be a secondary school English teacher. Might change my mind before I get to there though, because there's like a few years to go. Obviously I'm only in my second semester of uni now. Either that or I think I would like to be an editorial assistant or something like that, but we'll see what happens. Tanya asked me a couple questions as well. She first of all asked what are my favourite bands. I am mostly a pop rock kind of girl. My favourite bands over the years have included My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, Paramore, Nirvana, 21 Pilots, a whole bunch of others, but that's a few. She also asked whether BookTube has affected my taste in books. And I would say yes, definitely. I 100%, aside from those dystopian, you know, books that were really huge at one point, I didn't read any YA throughout my youth. I didn't know anything really about it, and I just kind of wasn't interested. I was just really into classics. So that was, you know, classics were the books that I would look for everywhere. Since I started watching BookTube, just hearing everyone talk about these amazing YA books, and then the first one I picked up was Fangirl, which is obviously incredible. So that really like made me aware of how much great stuff is out there in YA, and yeah, I'm really glad I have. So over the last like year or so I've been really obsessing over YA and trying to like play catch up, because there's so many that I didn't read that were like really popular, and for good reason. A lot of YA is really amazing. T asked, do you like horror movies, and if yes, tell us your favorites. I don't like super gory horror, things like Saw and stuff like that, not really into. I am more into like cheesy kind of horror movies, things like Jeepers Creepers and Cry Wolf is another one of my favorites, and I really like Paranormal Activity, not the first one but like the second, third and fourth ones I really enjoyed, so stuff like that. Finally, Leanne, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name but I think it's Leanne, asked, and this question made me laugh, she asked, is being a redhead and an Aussie as much of a dream come true as I think it is? So first of all, I love being a redhead. I'm not naturally a redhead, but I really like it. I've been this colour for like quite a while now, maybe a couple years, maybe a bit less than that, and I just feel like I found my true color. Like I feel like this is the color that I should have been naturally. I'm just like a light brown, dark blonde kind of color, and I was like platinum blonde for a really long time, like years and years, and I really liked that as well, but I like this a lot better. So yeah, I love being red-haired, yes. Second part though, I'm not actually Australian, and I know that it's confusing because our accents are very similar. I kind of wish I was, because I've been watching H2O Just Add Water. I watched all 3 seasons of that recently, and I love that, and it just makes me wish I was Australian because I think they're really cool. But no, for real. Thank you guys for asking me all your questions, and yeah, thanks again for 1k subscribers, because that's what this video was in celebration of. So yeah, I will link my Goodreads, Twitter and Instagram down below if you want to follow me on those places, and I will see you guys in a couple days with another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.